This tweet and this list is gaining a lot of attention. 10 so-called choke point stocks. The tweet says, they said, make me $1 million from $100,000 with 10 stocks. And these are the stocks: Kraken, ASTS Satellite, SOLPA, Photonics, SOI, Optics, Syntex Optics, Bloom Energy, AAOI, EQR, OSS, MBS, and Laser Enlight. On paper, this sounds exciting, and some of these names are generally interesting. But here's the problem. These are not 10 equal opportunity stocks. Some of these are much closer to real traction, and some of these are high-risk bets. Some are early watch list names, and some are mostly story. So in this video, we're gonna break down the way I actually see it into 4 tiers. And by the end, I'm gonna show you the type of stock on this list that I think most people are missing. So first, what is a choke point stock? A choke point stock is a company that controls a critical, irreplaceable node in a supply chain, infrastructure, or technology sector. And these companies possess high barriers to entry, often creating monopolistic or oligopolistic power, which allows them to thrive even during economic disruptions, as the broader market depends on them. We've seen these in markets before, but the mistake people make is assuming every company attached to a big thing becomes a winner, and they don't. So let's go tier by tier. And these are the 4 tiers. The choke point stocks, who actually wins? Tier 1 is gonna be AAOI, ONDS, Ondas, and IREN. Tier 2 is AST Satellites, Kraken Robotics, and Envious. Tier 3 is Sivers, SLOIF, and Optics, Syntex Optics. And tier 4 is Bloom Energy, EQR, OSS, and Endpoint Laser. First, let's go to AOI. Tier 1 for me is real traction. These are the names on the list that I think are closest to actually becoming meaningful winners if things continue going in the right direction. First is AAOI, Applied Optoelectronics. Its stock price is at $154, and they build optical networking components. They build fiber optics, basically for hardware that moves massive amounts of data inside AI data centers. This one matters because AI infrastructure demand is real right now. Billions of dollars being poured into data centers, networking, and compute build out. So this is not just some future dream story. There's actual demand behind the theme. And that doesn't mean that it's risk-free, but it does mean that it's grounded in something real. Next, we're going to Ondas Holdings. Ondas is interesting because it is about multiple important areas all at once. You're talking about drones, surveillance, satellite exposure, and potentially AI layered from Palantir into that broader system. And that's what makes it more compelling than just one product story. Now, to be clear, Ondas still has to execute, and it still needs contracts, growth, and proof, but it has enough pieces in place that I think it belongs in the top group. Tier 2, and then the last one is going to be IREN. AI cloud computing and AI data centers. IREN Limited, they started in Bitcoin and have moved to large-scale data centers. These are the data centers. Their locations are in Sweetwater, Texas, Prince George, Canada, Oklahoma, Childress, Texas. Everybody wants to talk about the AI chips, such as NVIDIA. And everybody wants to talk about photonics, such as Sivers. But none of that matters if you don't have the power to run the machines. And IREN already has sites with serious power infrastructure. These are high energy sites that are built with major compute loads in mind. Yes, it started with Bitcoin, but the reason this matters now is because AI data centers need power, land, and infrastructure. This is not just a technology bottleneck, it's a physical bottleneck. And that's why IREN to me belongs in tier 1. So now let's go to tier 2. Tier 2, ASTS, SpaceMobile, Kraken Robotics, and MBS Group. And first is Kraken AST SpaceMobile. This is one of those stocks where if it works, people are going to look back and say the opportunity was enormous. They build satellites that connect directly to your phone. Direct to phone satellite connectivity is a massive idea. But it's also one of those businesses where there is a lot that has to go right. This is what I call a binary style setup. You can be very right or you could be very wrong. Next, Kraken Robotics. Underwater robotics, naval applications, mine warfare, subsea intelligence, they're all real world use cases. And the world is not exactly getting safer. So I understand why people are paying attention. But it's a company that has to keep scaling. And it's not a guaranteed dominant winner just because the theme sounds strong. And it's trading at $6.69. And AST SpaceMobile is trading at around $89. MBS, which is around $156 at the moment. AI cloud company. AI is rapidly becoming a general purpose technology, moving from research into large scale production systems and reshaping cloud infrastructure requirements. MBS is the AI cloud company, delivering a unified platform that spans the complete AI journey from data and model training and tuning, production, runtime, and deployment. It has the kind of setup people want to get excited about because it sounds tied to where the money is flowing, which is they serve AI builders, but with building full stack AI infrastructure. But with names like this, the market can sometimes run ahead of proof. So I'm not dismissing it. I just think it belongs in the bucket where the payoff could be big, but the execution has to show up. So now let's go to tier 3. Sivers Semiconductors, Silicon Motion, and Syntex Optics. First, Sivers Semiconductors. High-powered lasers for AI data centers. Photonics, optical demand, AI infrastructure, all that sounds very compelling. For their technology that helps move data faster inside networks with lasers and fiber optics. But right now, I think the right way to frame Sivers, SIVEF, is trading at $2.68, by the way, is not as a proven choke point winner. It's an emerging thesis. There's a difference between being early and being right. And I think that's exactly where SIVEF sits. Silicon Motion. SLOIF, trading at $115.97 today. Same kind of idea with SLOIF. Their wafer and supply chain angle that people want to label as critical, where they focus on semiconductor components used in storage and data systems. But on social media, people love to use the words like monopoly or dominant supplier way too early. And that's where I get careful. Next is Syntex Optics. Trading at $9.24. The defense optics angle is interesting as they manufacture optical components used in defense systems and sensors. Again, this is the kind of name where the story can run away ahead of the proof. So I'm not putting these in top bucket list yet. I just think these names you should monitor and study them. But you don't automatically treat them like winners have already been decided. Okay, now we're at tier 4. Bloom Energy, European Metals, OSS, and Laser and Light. Bloom Energy. Bloom Energy builds fuel cell systems for electricity generation, and that's an interesting angle. But once you start getting into these more mature, bigger market cap names, the simple hidden choke point story gets clean, or less clean. Next is European Metals. European Metals focuses and Bloom Energy was trading at around $200. European Metals trades around $63. And they focus on critical materials such as lithium and tungsten used in industrial and defense applications. I get why people want exposure to strategic materials, but commodity-driven stories can be tricky. They can sound obvious and still not translate into the kind of durable winner people expect. One-Stop Systems. Edge AI, One-Stop Systems, OSS, trading at around $10. What is Edge AI? Edge AI, or artificial intelligence at the edge, is the deployment of machine learning algorithms directly on local devices such as LOT, sensors, cameras, or smartphones, rather than a centralized cloud, which enables real-time data processing, significantly reducing latency, enhanced privacy, and functionality without an internet connection. So OSS builds high-performance computing hardware for military and edge environments. Edge compute for military or field use sounds great, but that doesn't automatically mean it becomes a multi-owned stock. And it's probably a little far-fetched into the future. Enlight Laser, LASR, trading at around $70 today. Enlight's high-powered laser systems. Directed energy, advanced tech, and all that is exciting, but this is exactly where people can get trapped by future vision. The future might be real, but that doesn't mean the stock wins the way people expect. So what's the big takeaway? So if you step back and look at the whole tweet, what you really have is not 10 equal moonshots. You have a few names with real traction, a few names with big upside but serious risk, few that are early and worth watching, and then a group where the narrative may be stronger than the business at the moment. And that distinction matters because this is how people lose money, and they treat every stock attached to a big idea as if it belongs in the same category, and it doesn't. So this is why I keep coming back to the same philosophy. Owning a few beats better than is better than chasing 10. Owning a few stocks is better than chasing 10. For you don't need to own every viral stock list. You need to identify the small number of names where the story and the setup actually line up. And for me, that's why I keep coming back to names like Ondas and IREN. Not because they're guaranteed, but because I think those are two of the most interesting setups when you separate hype from actual bottlenecks. So if you want to go and study more about this, become a member at buymycoffee.com, 20minutes.com. And you'll see how I'm thinking in real time. I've got all that posted on the website, and there are 3 levels. The insider level, where I share early ideas before they become full videos. The portfolio, where you can see exactly what I'm holding and how it's changing from week to week. And the alpha access alerts, where I post my highest conviction setups and thoughts. I'll also be breaking down which of these choke point stocks I'm actually focused on right now over there. And the link is in the description if you want to check it out. And I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next one.